They're having a heat wave. When it is hot in Hell's Kitchen, well, anywhere in New York City for that matter, sometimes you just gotta get out of the city. And one of the coolest places in New York State that I know to go to when it's too hot in the city is Niagara Falls, baby, where you can feel the mist from the Canadian Falls hitting you on your face on one side and the New York mist hitting you on the other side. And you can just be in the beautiful falls, the center of it all, on the Maid of the Mist. There are several other boat rides in the falls, but the one I went on, and the one I recommend from experience, is the Maid of the Mist. Now, you cannot make a reservation for these boat rides over Niagara Falls, or in the falls. They don't actually go over, or woe is you. But you can buy your tickets in advance at MAID, M-A-I-D, .com. You can check your pricing, and you can make those purchases prior to going to Niagara Falls. The only thing is that you must use it in this season, and the season ends on November 5th this year, 2023. There are prices for adults and children. I think the adult price is $23 or $25 and less for children, and I think it's 6 to 14 or something like that. But the website will tell you all there is to know, and I suggest that you get there early because you don't want to be in a crowd and the boats are full and you don't get to go that day. But 9 a.m. is the first boat out, and I think the last boat out is, I believe it's 4:45, could be 3:45. Check the website. Don't quote me on that. It's been a while. But you want to know how to get from Midtown Manhattan to Niagara Falls. There are several modes of transportation that I could recommend. I think the first mode of transportation that I would recommend would be an automobile rental, but you need to have a driver's license and you need to have a passport to rent a car, right? So, or a driver's license if you're an American. So that's useful without having the passport. But if you want to go over the Canadian border, which you can do in Buffalo, to go right to Toronto, you're going to need a passport and a driver's license. So there are options of things to do once you're outside of the city in the cooler areas of New York State. Now, getting out in a car rental, there's Avis, Budget Rent-A-Car, Enterprise, Thrifty. There are dozens of rental car services, and depending upon your frequent flyer miles and maybe you have a Delta Sky Miles program, you can get discounts. But generally, the automobile rentals begin at like $40 a day and can go up as much as $100 a day in New York State. Now, if you're going to want to not worry about driving around, but I'll tell you, if you're going to leave early, I would leave early, like in the morning. Like I would plan to drive up, say, leaving after midnight while other people are still out partying, and get there really early. Their Seneca Falls reservation is right next door to Niagara Falls, and you can rent a room at not the reservation, it is actually a casino hotel with all the trappings of any other casino hotel and walking distance to the falls. So that's very convenient, and it really is a lovely casino hotel. So keep that in mind if you're going to spend some time up there and do other things. The transportation, that's a rental car. Now let's talk about getting to the falls via bus. Now if you're leaving from Times Square, yes, it would be, you would go to the Port Authority bus terminal there on 42nd Street, and you would get the Peter Pan bus lines or the Trailways or the Greyhound busways. There are several of them that you can take to get up to Niagara Falls. And when you go take the bus to Buffalo, it's in walking distance to the falls. You wouldn't even a lovely day, you want to walk to the falls. You don't want to take a Uber or a Lyft unless you're in some kind of hurry because you're trying to make the 9 o'clock boat. But otherwise, it's a lovely walk early in the morning. I took an overnight bus once when I went there, and it was really quite a clever way to spend 8 or 9 hours. But for me, I had no choice because my mode of transportation to a wedding had been usurped because the train, the Amtrak, which I had planned to take, was derailed, and they had called me to tell me in the middle of the night that my train would not be coming. So you always need some kind of backup, I just say. But and for me, luckily for me, I didn't even look to see if there was a schedule or a bus going to Buffalo. All I knew was there was a wedding that day, and I was going to be there. So when the phone rang in the middle of the night, and it was Amtrak, I had already packed my suitcase and had it waiting at the door. I just went and grabbed my suitcase and ran to Port Authority bus terminal and got whatever bus was going that way as soon as I could. Anyway, as I said, I grabbed my suitcase and I ran and got the first bus going and was the first one to arrive for the wedding. And I walked to Seneca Falls, actually, to the casino resort, which is not where the wedding was held. But it was close enough. It was where we were meeting, where the meeting rooms for the wedding were. Anyway, the next thing I must talk about is how to get there by Amtrak, which was my first choice. And the Amtrak cost can be anywhere from, I guess, $70 to $150 or all the way up to $300 round trip. Amtrak leaves from Penn Station, New York City, which is 34th Street. And there's an entrance on 33rd Street. I don't think they moved that, even though there's a lot going on there now. But you can take the Amtrak to Buffalo, and you can then take to Buffalo train station, and you can then take whatever. I'm losing my train of thought, but I'm talking about Uber and Lyft, that kind of thing, rideshare, to the Seneca Falls or directly to the Maid of the Mist, if that's what you're going to. Now, the other thing is the airlines. The airlines can be about the same rate as the Amtrak, but what I failed to mention is the Amtrak is 8 to 9 hours on the train, and the bus is also 8 to 9 hours. If you're riding a car, you probably take about 7 hours to get there, unless you are the type of person who likes to stop, like at Sugarloaf on the way, and see the cute little town, and maybe do some special shopping because people make things up there to Craft Village on the way, and they're made by hand. Who wouldn't want to stop at Sugarloaf? Anyway, and other places, but Sugarloaf is one of the many. The other method of getting there is by airline. You can take an airplane from JFK, LaGuardia, or Newark, and go to Buffalo. Buffalo International Airport, I think that's what it's called. I'm not sure, but it's Buffalo something airport. And from there, you will definitely need to take and again, the airline will be a little bit more expensive. It's called Buffalo Niagara International Airport, and it's nearest to Niagara Falls. The flight duration is 1.5 hours, and the cost, it depends upon a lot of different variables. It can be $150 to $300 round trip, about as much as an Amtrak, right? Could potentially be for fewer hours. But anyway, the other thing, we talked about the bus, and the travel time is 7 to 9 hours, actually, on the bus, depending on the bus driver. That's $40. Car, we talked about, yes, helicopter. Yeah, if money is no object and you want to take a chopper, You can take a chopper from Manhattan, there on, I think it's 34th Street, to, I'm sorry, there, you can take it for, and they'll drop you where you want to be dropped, right on the falls. And per person, it's $500 to $1,000 for the aerial views you get. They can actually give you a tour along the way, you know. So that will be the cost per package per person. And that might be including a round trip, but they're not going to wait for you to get off and go on the boat ride. So it depends on what you want. You want the aerial view. I don't know how close they can come to the falls, actually being in it, you know, getting a spray. I don't think you're going to get that. But, you know, you might just want to go up there and get some air shots, whatever, you know. But that's an option. The boat. Now, to reach the Maid of the Mist boat ride, which takes you into the falls, not over the falls, because if you go over the falls, whoa, it's me. You want to, well, anyway, you follow the signs if you're driving to Niagara Falls State Park, and the entrance is located near Prospect Point Observation Tower. The operating hours of the Maid of the Mist is going to be, as I mentioned, the first boat goes out at 9 a.m., but you need to be there before 9 a.m. if you plan to get on it, because they fill up fast, because they don't take reservations. They don't have to. People want to do this, especially if you want to get out of the city and enjoy something. You know, watch the movie Niagara Falls with, what is it called, Niagara? I think Ellen Monroe. A very popular movie. Rochester, which is I think an hour and a half away from Buffalo, is known for its craft beer breweries. You might want to go there and check out some of them. There's quite a number of them that are on the top, list of breweries for upstate New York.